Continuing my series of interviews with professional athletes. This time, I sat down with Jack, one of the coaches of my gym. We talked about self-sabotage, preparation to compete, and his experiences being a professional athlete and coach. You might have seen already snippets of this conversation, but following your feedback and how great are his insights, you're gonna see now the full interview. Jack, thank you for doing this.
Pleasure.
I think the first thing that in my mind when I thought about competing was like, will I gonna be defeating myself? Like I'm gonna be the best version of myself on the day? And I actually, in one or two competitions, I only have three, right? But I literally sabotaged myself because like, I don't know, I didn't put all that I had and everything. So I was wondering for someone that actually did this professionally, did it ever happen to you, like your preparation to there, like your mind start playing tricks on you and then you need to do something about it?
Yeah, definitely. So I feel like there's two different kinds of self-sabotage that I can talk about. One would be in training. And that would effectively come down to not doing your best in training for whatever reasons. For some people, they'll find excuses not to apply themselves, not to work their hardest, not to turn up and stuff like this. Sometimes it could be the opposite. It could be not knowing when to pull back. You know, you're injured, you should be working around an injury, but you decide you want to work through it and make things worse. So that can happen as well. So I feel like you can sabotage your own training in a multitude of ways, but you can also sabotage your own performance on the day. I can think of a couple examples like from my own experience, and that would be, one would be maybe not appreciating the occasion, you know, in the sense that I would normally get very nervous before I compete, whether it was a fight or now before it's a powerlifting comp. I do get nervous. I get nervous because I care about the result. I care about doing my best and putting in my best performance. The one time I didn't get nervous was probably my worst ever performance in a fight. And leading up to the fight, I thought, oh, this is great, you know, like I'm so relaxed. And then I was relaxed all the way until the cage door closed behind me, and then it all hit me all at once, like, shit, I'm actually in a fight, you know? And I really froze. I underperformed very, very badly that time. So I feel like for me, with my process now, getting nervous is the right thing to do. Like I know that I'll get nervous, and that's okay. Nerves get the best out of me. They bring the best performance out of me. You know, you can even lean into this on a biochemical level, right? I know that if I'm getting nervous, this is my body, you know, responding to adrenaline cruising in my system, then adrenaline is going to get the best out of me, right? It's literally like a performance enhancing drug on a day. Like it's going to make me perform better, provided obviously I don't, you know, completely spaz out and I actually lean into that and perform well. So that would be on the day. Also, my own experience underperforming on the day would be not listening to your corner. And that's something I have done only once as an athlete. I've definitely experienced it as a coach, and it's an extremely frustrating experience from a coach's perspective. When you can see the right things to do, you're calling them out, and your athlete doesn't execute because they don't think it's the right call, or for whatever reason they don't think they can pull it off. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like there's multitude of ways that you can sabotage yourself for sure.
And I think one thing that you have a good perspective is that when like being like a former MMA fighter and now a powerlifter, when you're powerlifting is like literally you against you, right? Like you against the bar, because even everyone competing against you is there to support you as well, right?
Yeah, honestly, that's very, very typical to that sport. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The atmosphere is very different, very supportive, and you don't compete directly against anyone, even if you kind of do, because like I'm not in your way. When you're doing your attempts, you're doing your attempts, and I'm off the platform. When I'm doing my attempts, I'm doing my attempts, and you're off the platform, as opposed to the combat sport where, as I'm trying to apply a technique to you, you are doing everything you can to stop me, right? So this is a very, very different nature of the sport for sure.
Is it easier or is it harder to, because on the MMA, then you have the face of someone, right, to be the target. But then on the powerlifting, you are yourself the target, right? Like, do you think like in these terms of like focus on your opponent, like what is the hardest for you?
So I think if I'm understanding correctly, I think with fighting, I think it's a little bit easier to not quit and give your best, I think, because if someone's, I don't know, especially if you're talking MMA scenario where obviously you can, get quite badly hurt. If someone's on top of you dropping elbows at your face, now you've got an option to quit, obviously, and end the fight. But more often than not, like, you will fight your hardest to get out of the situation, right? You will literally fight 100% to get out of the situation. You'll do anything you can to get out of it. And I feel like the motivation there, because you are literally in danger, is higher to do your best. Whereas with, say, powerlifting, you can be very motivated to be the best, but because this isn't an immediate threat to you, I feel like some people may not tap into that very essence of the fight or flight mode with, say, with lifting or strength sports in general. Some guys absolutely can go there, and you can see that they can, but I feel like a lot of people just can't, and because of that, they will not push to a certain level. Whereas in a fight, I think you are made to push to a certain level, or you're made to quit. You can always quit, you can tap, you can just cover up and get the ref to stop the fight and stuff, right? But most guys won't want to do that because that doesn't look good, and it hurts your ego. So most guys will fight their hardest to get out of the situation. So I think that would be the difference in that. I think like it's a little bit easier maybe in a fight to tap into that genuine survival instinct that is just probably a bit harder to tap into with a strength sport.
Okay, that's interesting, because I think another thing that I always like puzzles me is like the preparation to competition, right? Even though in jiu-jitsu it would be like you against the person, and powerlifting is you against the bar, like you only get to that moment with a lot of support, right? And with a lot of people around, and especially for you that like you coached in all of these areas. I think one of my main questions to you is like, what you like when preparing to this, like most, what helped you the most, like from your team, from your coach, from your environment to get to that moment? Was like tough partners, the ones that always want to take your head off, or like the ones that are always like, I don't know, more mindful about something else, like they establish another type of relationship to you? Like, do you see what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think I do. So obviously it's going to be very individual for for every athlete. There's a lot to be said about hard training partners and hard sparring when you're competing in a combat sport, for sure. And I think that definitely helped in terms of just improving me and toughening up as a fighter. But I think in my particular situation, I think what helps the most in terms of having the team around you is having those people closest to me believe in me more than I do. When I compete, I tend to second guess myself, and I tend to doubt myself, and those kind of thoughts creep in. Like, can I actually do this? Like, is this within my reach? And having people around you, whether it was a fight or a powerlifting combat, having people around you that believe in you, that have seen you train, that have seen you overcome adversity, that people that when they say you got this, you really do. They don't just tell you that to protect your feelings. They tell you that because they genuinely believe that you do have that, right? And I feel like for me, having that on the day, that kind of support on the day from my team is a massive game changer for sure.
Yeah, that's really cool. So does fear plays a big part on like the competition? Like, do you need to fear the competition? Do you need to be afraid of fail?
I think fear can be a huge motivator, and if it's not crippling, paralyzing fear that just makes you underperform, I think it can be very useful. I think everyone who competes to a certain degree fears failure, because none of us wants to fail in front of people that watch us, right? and I think that can be a powerful motivator. I think for a lot of people, you know, like a lot of people that I have sparred or fought, they hated losing more than they loved winning, and those people can be very hard to beat. So I think, yeah, fear in the right amount, I think, can be very healthy and very motivating. I also don't believe anyone who says they have zero fear going into the comp. Like, I don't believe that, because that would tell me that you literally don't care. And I don't think anyone would do that, would enter without genuinely caring. So I personally don't buy that. I don't think anyone can compete with zero fear. There's always going to be some element of it. As long as the excitement is bigger than the fear, then I feel it's absolutely okay. It's absolutely fine.
That's nice. Well, Jack, thank you very much. That was
My
very
pleasure.
insightful. Yeah.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Cheers, mate.